There's this big misconception that frugal means that you are either cheap or boring, or that you hoard all of your money and never spend a dime of it. Think Scrooge McDuck swimming in all of the coins. Before I began this journey, that's what I thought too, but actually this couldn't be further from the truth. Hey everyone, I'm Sami from A Sunny Side Up Life. So now that I've been on my debt-free / wealth building journey for the past 7 years, I've learned a few things about how people who are actually successful with their money live and some of their spending habits. So here are 5 ways that frugal people approach spending money different than your average person. Number 1 is quality over quantity. We know that if we purchase something cheap, we're going to end up having to replace it sooner, and in the end, buy more items, which is not very environmentally friendly, and probably in the long run actually spend more money. Plus, not to mention the time that it takes to physically go and shop for those items. So this is a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it's not very good for the planet. So frugal people think one and done. How can I buy something that is better quality, that is gonna last me a decent amount of time, right? And then I'm gonna get my money's worth out of. For me, my favorite example is shoes. I'm not really very cheap on shoes.
Unless you count Old Navy flip-flops, but I still wear those for a couple of years.
But with shoes, I would much rather buy a pair of Nikes that are like $60 to $100 because I know that I am going to get at least 2 or 3 years out of those tennis shoes. I also do the same thing with my water sandals. I bought a pair of Chacos a couple of years ago. I spent $100 on them, but I think I've had them for 2 or 3 years and they still look practically brand new. They'll probably last me at least 5 years. So for me, I'd rather just spend more money up front and get a quality product that is going to last me a good amount of time. Number 2 is value-based spending versus reckless or impulsive spending. So frugal people know that these random little impulse purchases add up over time. So if you're going to Target or Walmart or something and you're buying $100 worth of stuff that you don't need, over time that is going to add up. So as you kind of progress in your frugal living journey, this is where we start to plan ahead a little more. We start to make lists before we go shopping. I even do this with my clothes. I literally just did this the other day. I made a note on my notes app on my phone, a little checklist, and I followed that list while I was shopping for clothes. And when I got back home, I felt like I got good quality items. I didn't really stray from the list. I still spent money, but I wasn't impulsive and I wasn't reckless with it. This used to be really hard for me, especially if you know that my husband works offshore. When he was away at work, I would start to get depressed, sad, lonely, and I would turn to retail therapy. This would cost us hundreds of dollars each month. And then I realized what I was actually doing and that this retail therapy, this impulsive shopping, didn't align with our long-term goals. Instead, I switched to real therapy, which in the end was actually much, much cheaper. Think about $60 to $100 per month for actual therapy. Not only did I improve my mental health, I got a much bigger value for my money. Number 3 is that frugal people understand that sometimes there's a little more footwork involved in their purchases, meaning that we take time to browse the internet for coupon codes. We shop sales. We overall do our research before we make big purchases. This might mean waiting a while. This might mean looking through Facebook Marketplace when you're replacing your furniture. This might mean scrolling through Mercari when you're updating your wardrobe.
Me, I do that.
This might mean endlessly scrolling through Craigslist before you cash flow your next vehicle, which is what my husband does every time we make a large purchase. We do our research, we wait, we look for deals, we wait for coupon codes, all of that kind of stuff. We do put in a little extra work, but in the end, we get so much value for that little bit of extra work. Number 4 is we weigh the opportunity cost. So this one is sort of like the value-based spending, but opportunity cost is defined as the loss of a potential gain from one choice when you make an alternative choice. We understand that we want to live a life of abundance, but we also understand that we can't do everything. And sometimes we have to choose between one option or another when it comes to spending our money. For instance, a couple of years ago, we paid cash for our current boat. We spent $11,000. And when we made that decision, we knew ahead of time that we were spending our money on a depreciating asset. Buying this boat was not really an investment. Of course, we can resell it, but again, we're going to lose money on it over time. Not to mention even the maintenance, registration, and everything that comes with owning a boat. We're not just buying an $11,000 boat. We are buying an asset that is losing value over time, not to mention the fact that that $11,000 could have very well been invested in our retirement accounts, and over the course of 30 years could have grown to at least $100,000, if not closer to $200,000. But the thing is that we knew that and we made that decision beforehand. We knew that going into it. So being frugal doesn't mean that we don't ever invest in something kind of dumb or kind of frivolous or purely for fun. But when we do it, we know what we're getting ourselves into and we weigh these options first. Number 5 is that we keep our goals in the forefront of all of our spending decisions. So goals are basically the reason for the season when it comes to frugal people and our habits. We set these goals, we work towards them, and we actually achieve them. There's none of this, maybe one day I wish this would happen. No, we set a goal, we make a plan, we work towards it, and we achieve said goal. There's no wishing or hoping in this situation. And that attitude is what it takes to win with money. So this attitude relates to our everyday spending, right? So take us saving up for our construction loan down payment to build our new house. Our budget has been really tight for the past year or two because we know that we're going to have to put a significant down payment into this construction loan. And this has been kind of a long and tiresome process, to be honest. We have to remind ourselves and we have to remind our kids all the time of the big goal that we have in mind. So when there are things that aren't in the budget, we remind ourselves and we remind our kids we're saving this money for the house because we have big savings goals and they're not going to accidentally happen. That house is not going to accidentally, magically afford itself. We are going to have to intentionally save our money. So we have to keep these big goals at the forefront of our thoughts in every single spending decision that we make. Does that mean that we never have any fun? Absolutely not. We budget in a healthy amount of fun money. We budget in new clothes. We budget in camping trips. But we recognize that if we're going to do said fun things, that's going to push our goal back. Even if it's just $100, it will push it back a little bit. So we have to weigh those decisions. Something that a frugal person constantly thinks about. Let me know if you have any frugal habits that I did not include in this video. Put them in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my new videos. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys. But opportunity cost is defined as the loss of a potential gain. The loss of a potential gain. The loss of a potential gain